course, you know what the bank will say, don't you? Sorry, madam, but it was the principal card holder who asked us to take the card off you.
Yeah, because she found out you were married with 2 kids.
Yeah, well, he probably didn't mention that bit.
Well, if you think they're going to say that, why even bother going?
Well, you never know. There's just a chance it might not have been. Might just have been their machine going haywire. Then they'll give me my card back and I can go out and get the rest of the £5,000 he owes me.
And how much have you got so far? 4?
Yeah. Hey, if you're in the Rovers at dinner time, I'll let you know what happens.
I don't know how you could do a thing like that. Just take off and not being bothered about what might be happening to your own daughter.
I knew she were all right. You were looking after her.
I know. For an old day and an old night to her. I mean, what were you thinking to stop away for that long?
I told you, I met some mates, then we went back to theirs and I crashed out.
And what happened next morning?
I woke up and I was going to come home, but then Denise, that's who was staying with us, well, she wasn't well and she needed looking after.
Because that drug she's been taking?
Might have been, so she still needed looking after.
And what if something had happened to Shannon? What if she'd have been sick or rushed to hospital even? I wouldn't have been able to tell you because I didn't know where you were.
Oh, so I always have to tell you where I am now, do I?
Well, why not? I'd have thought you'd have wanted to.
Don't you have to open shop?
Never mind shop. This is more important.
Well then, would you mind keeping an eye on her while I go to the loo? That's all right, isn't it? Because I'm telling you where I'm going and you can shout me if there's an emergency.
Oh, does she have to do that homework now?
I do, yeah.
You should have done it last night.
Oh, you know, there's nothing more off-putting when you're trying to watch the telly than somebody turning pages over.
Well, you needn't worry, because I finished.
Not before time, either.
So is that settled then? You're going to look for a job today?
I look for one every day. There just aren't any going, are there?
Oh, what a shame. Then you won't be doing any drinking, will you?
Oh, come on, Jan. It's not my fault the economy's not performing the way it should.
It's you that's not performing the way you should. I mean it. You're not having a drink today, or tomorrow, or ever again, unless you get yourself a job. Hey, and give our Leanne a shout. She's another one I have to shell out for.
You know, it's a good job I'm so easygoing. Some fellas just wouldn't stand for that.
Thanks for looking after her.
Anyway, how do you think I felt wondering if he's ever going to come back or not?
Well, I have.
For all I knew, you could have been off with somebody else.
Yeah, with some mates, don't you believe me?
I believe you now, yeah. But I didn't know then, did I?
Oh, so it's not enough I have to tell you where I'm going. I have to tell you who I'm going to be with now, do I?
I tell you.
Well, I don't know why, because I don't want to know.
I'm just saying. Don't you see how awful it was for me not knowing and wondering and imagining stuff?
Not as awful as this is for me, being questioned and treated like I'm a liar.
I just want to know. Are we supposed to be living together? Because if we are, I don't think you should be going off for these mates of yours, leaving me to look after your baby.
Don't bring her into it, because it's not her you're really worried about, is it? It's you. Whether I'm going to leave you or not.
Well, how would you feel if I did the same to you?
Great. Give me a break from all this.
I've got to get back to the shop. We'll talk about this when I come back.
Well, you can. I've had enough of talking.
Yeah. And I've had enough of sitting here wondering what's going on.
Do sit down, Mrs. Rashid.
Thanks. What it is, I have a credit card with you that I tried to use last night, and your cash machine wouldn't give it back.
I'm afraid that's because we told it not to.
Right.
Acting on the instructions of the principal card holder.
Him? Yes, well,
That doesn't surprise you?
I have had my fill of surprises from the principal card holder.
So you do know him?
Know him? Oh, yes.
It's just that Mr. Jenkins didn't seem to know you. Claims he's no idea how you come to have been issued with the card in the first place.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Jenkins.
Oh, so that's what he's calling himself now.
I got the impression that was his real name.
Well, it isn't. His real name's Lindsay, John Lindsay.
If you say so. Though he's had an account with us for years, and always under the name Ian Jenkins.
Lindsay. And I'll tell you something else about him that you might already know, but I certainly didn't. He has a wife and 2 kids, and he runs a tie shop in Manchester Airport.
We do seem to have got different impressions. Our Mr. Jenkins is married, but I'm quite sure he doesn't work in a shop. In fact, he's an airline pilot. Sorry?
Yeah, he told me that one. I swallowed it as well, hook, line and sinker, until somebody I know actually saw him working in that shop.
We are talking about the same person, aren't we?
Oh, I'm sure we are.
Our Mr. Jenkins has been in Singapore for the last 3 months, and that's a fact because we've had communication with him out there. No? Could you describe this, Mr. Lindsay?
It's all right, sweetheart. We'll be off in a minute. Just got to write a little note, let stupid Ashley know where we've gone, in case he didn't notice.
So we've been talking about 2 different people.
One in Didsbury, one in Thailand.
God, you must have thought I was round the twist. So, when I've been using that card, the bills have been going to someone else, this Mr.
Jenkins. They have, yes. As he found out when he looked at his statements.
Well, I didn't know that. I swear to God, I didn't.
You believed it was this John Lindsay who was picking up the bill?
Well, yes. I mean, I can't remember what he told me when he gave me the card, but I certainly got that impression.
Unfortunately, it wasn't true.
Well, no.
Every time you used that card, the bills were going to Ian Jenkins.
That's awful. I feel like... Well, I feel like I've been stealing from him. I'll have to pay the money back, will I? Oh, God, but there's other things as well. We were setting up a home. I've been buying furniture, all sorts.
So I see.
And just recently, I've been using the card to withdraw cash.
We've noticed that too. 7, 8 withdrawals of £500 each in little more than a week.
Yeah, because I thought it was John's money. Look, I'll pay the money back. I swear I will. Every penny. Just tell me how. Do you want to check or what?
Well, not just at the minute. What I'm still trying to understand... Did you know Ian Jenkins?
The man whose account it really was?
Yes.
No.
And what about your friend, John Lindsay? Might he have known him?
He never mentioned him. Not that I can remember.
But you say he works at the airport?
Selling ties, yeah.
I'm just looking for a connection. See, the form we received requesting a second card for you, that was one that we sent to Ian Jenkins' home address. So I'm just wondering how your friend Mr. Lindsay got his hands on it. Perhaps we'll find that out later. Mrs. Rashid, could you just bear with me for 10 minutes? I just have to consult a colleague of mine.
Yeah, sure.
Would you like a coffee or a tea?
No, thanks.
Shan't keep you long.
So you're one of these young people who ties themselves to trees to stop them being chopped down?
Sometimes. You think that's crazy? You think I should be locked up?
No, I think it's admirable. I think young people like you deserve a medal.
Oh. Well, yeah.
I'm sure you wouldn't accept it, even if it were offered.
Wouldn't, no.
Oh, hello. You know she's back, then?
I believe so.
And he's welcomed her with open arms, has he?
I don't know what he's done. He's saying little.
Ashley? I hope you've laid the law down. I say, I hope you've let her know what you think of that kind of behaviour. You have not just taken her breakfast in bed and said how glad you are to see her back again, have you?
Well, I think that's my business, don't you?
Ashley, lad, I hate to say this, but she's a bad un. Now she's gone and proved it. Stopping out, not caring what became of her own child. You let her back in after that, and you'll be telling her she can get away without. You'll be giving her carte blanche to make your life a misery.
I'm just not going to talk to you about her. I just won't. You can just go on as long as you like.
She's back all right, but in control by the sound of it. And we can guess how she achieved that, can't we, hey? Same way that women have achieved control over men since time began. I say since time immemorial.
Be using their superior intelligence.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting. This is Detective Sergeant Wyatt from Weatherfield CID.
Mrs. Rashid?
Hello?
I've asked the Detective Sergeant to join us since I think whoever's responsible, we are looking at a case of fraud.
I've said I didn't know it wasn't John's card.
I know, yes. I've told the sergeant everything that you told me.
You're claiming the card was given to you by your boyfriend.
Fiancé, as he was then.
And what is he now?
Well, nothing. We've split up.
Okay. Well, before we go any further, Mrs. Rashid, I'd better formally caution you. You're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so, but what you do say may be given in evidence. However, if you choose to say nothing and later rely on answers that could have been given at this stage, comment may be made at your trial. All right?
Are you arresting me?
No, but I would like you to come along to the station so that this interview can be recorded. Would you mind doing that?
No.
Yes, please. I'm sure you want to get this cleared up as much as we do.
Yes, of course. Can I just make a quick phone call to where I work, tell them I'm going to be late?
When we get to the station, yes. Can I have copies of those?
I'll do them now.
Okay, Mrs. Rashid. Let's go, shall we?
At the start, it was all fine. I thought she was a reasonable enough woman. Then we went to the book launch, and it turned out that the author, you know, the man who's launching the book, was her husband.
Still, it gave you something to talk about.
It gave me one of the most difficult evenings I've ever had because he wasn't trying to hide me or pretend I wasn't with her, you know. I mean, she actually introduced me to the man.
You'll be able to write your own book now, won't you? Memoirs of a Gentleman Escort.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'll bother. Anyway, it turns out they're always playing tricks on each other. They're a couple of absolute nutcases.
Takes all sorts, doesn't it? Have that on me.
No, I think I'd rather pay for myself, all right, thank you. And if I can give you my notice here and now, I'm retiring. No more escort duties, thank you very much. I didn't enjoy last night, and I don't want to risk it happening again.
Oh, now, come on, Ken.
I mean it. Anything could have happened. He might have assaulted me.
An author? They're not usually violent, are they?
I'm not arguing. I've finished. Hi.
Hi. What do you want?
Go on, I'll have half a lager.
Half a lager, please, Alec, and a red wine.
Right.
Has Deirdre been in yet?
Not that I've noticed.
She was trying to get some money from one of them machines and it hit her card.
Oh, heck.
Yeah, so she was going into the bank. She said she'd see me in here, let me know how she'd gone on.
This interview is being recorded at Weatherfield Police Station. Time is 1 o'clock. Mrs. Rashid, is it correct you've declined to have a solicitor present at this stage?
Well, I don't see why I need one.
But one has been offered and you've declined.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to tell us how you came to be using a fraudulently obtained credit card?
Well, I didn't know that's what it was.
Okay, well, how did you come to have it?
It was given to me by the man who used to be my fiancé, John Lindsay. Which is why I assumed it was on his account. It never occurred to me it was on someone else's.
How did he get the card?
No idea.
It wasn't an ordinary card, was it? It was a gold card.
Yes.
So, what did he say when he gave it to you? Go out and spend? What?
Oh, something like that, yeah. I mean, we just bought a house, so we were doing quite a lot of spending.
Wealthy man, is he?
Not particularly.
Well then, if you were giving this gold card quite a hammering, how did you think he was going to manage the bills?
Ah, well, then I thought he was wealthy, you see, because he'd lied to me about his job, and he also hadn't bothered to mention about a wife and 2 children he was supporting.
Must have been a shock.
It was.
So you broke off the engagement?
Yeah. I'd like to have broken his neck as well.
When? Not his neck, the engagement. When did you break that off?
About 2 weeks ago.
But you didn't give him his gold card back. In fact, according to my information, you've been withdrawing cash at a rate of £500 a day for the last 8 days. And presumably you'd have kept on doing it if Mr. Jenkins, the real card holder, hadn't realised what was going on.
Hello?
So you're saying you'd have stopped withdrawing money once you got the £5,000 he owed you?
Yes.
And what would you have done with the card?
Thrown it away, I don't know.
You wouldn't just have kept on using it?
No. Look, I've still got that money. You can have it back. Or the man whose account it really is, he can have it back. I wasn't trying to steal from anybody or cheat anybody. I was just trying to get back what was mine in the first place.
So, you thought John Lindsay was wealthy enough to treat you to a go-kart?
Yes.
So why did you have to lend him £5,000?
Because he told me he was in the middle of a divorce and he couldn't get his hands on his own money till it was all settled.
OK. But then when you found out none of this was true, did you try asking him for the money back?
Yes.
And?
Well, he promised to repay me.
Then why did you have to use the credit card?
Because I didn't believe him. The man's a liar. If I've learnt nothing else, I've learnt that. When I first met him, he was pretending to be an airline pilot, and then he owned up to that and forgot to mention that he was married with 2 children. I was going to withdraw £5,000 and not a penny more.
Oh, I thought I was getting off lightly. What you gonna have?
Gin and tonic for me, and you'll have a vodka and tonic, won't you?
Yeah, go on.
Right.
Hey, so what do you think of Deirdre then, busting up with a young man just 2 weeks before her wedding?
Well, think about it. I didn't even know about it.
Well, I was going to tell you.
Well, what did she do that for?
Well, nobody seems to know.
It must be serious. I mean, let's use our imagination.
Well, she hasn't moved out the house, has she?
No, she's still there.
Oh, good. Well, she hasn't lost everything.
No, just the prospect of a wonderful wedding and the chance of living happily ever after with a man she adored.
Oh, yeah, I don't mean that. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, if she plays her cards right, she could still come out showing a profit.
Biggest mistake we can make is to assume we're dealing with honourable men. Men whose word can be trusted.
Well, the council, you mean?
Council, property speculators, judges, capitalists. All of them as bad as one another.
Well, I suppose I'm a capitalist. I mean, I do own the cafe, you know.
You do?
Well, 3/5.
Then perhaps you shouldn't even trust yourself.
Hello. Is this the Weatherfields Vandals and Goths Society having a lunchtime get-together, is it? Do you know, poor Alfie is still at it. Putting back divots, picking up crisp packets out of the flower beds, thank you.
Lady, whatever we did to your front garden is nothing compared to the destruction your husband's planning.
And it wasn't deliberate.
Whereas his will be.
Where have you sprung from, anyway? We've never had anything like this around here before you turned up. And as for you, well, I'm just surprised that you encouraging the likes of him.
Oh, dear. Still, I suppose we must expect to make a few enemies along the way.
We want to make enemies. It's the only way we can be sure what we're doing is right.
Jan, that is a £5. And before you say it, I've got a job.
You have?
Yep, I went to see Paddy Thompson. You know, used to have all the ice cream vans. Well, now he's into securities. I start on Monday.
I don't believe you.
Ringo! Go on, ring him up and ask him. Have you heard this? Won't even believe her own husband.
Would you believe him?
I don't think he's bothered whether I believe him or not.
Look, I've got the job.
Oh, go on then.
Scotch and threat. And same again for my companions, if you'd be so kind, landlord.
Yes, certainly.
Oh, thank you, Fred.
Michael, what do you think about the young people of today?
Well, I try not to think about them at all.
See, all this guff from the politicians about compassion and being caring, I think they've taken it all to heart. As a result, they don't know right from wrong.
What are you talking about?
Our Ashley. Friend of the homeless, father to the fatherless. Or to put it another way, the softest Nelly you've ever come across.
Well, perhaps she'll turn up later then. Well, she left me a note saying it was your hostel she was going to. Yeah. Well, if she does turn up, can you ask her to give us a ring? It's Ashley, she'll know who I am. Yeah, no, I know you can't. Yeah, only if she wants to.
Sorry to have to ask you to wait, but we can't take this any further till we've had a word with you and Mr. Lindsay.
Will I have to see him?
Well, I shouldn't think so. But we'll be able to see him, won't we? I mean, he does exist.
Of course he exists. I've been living with him for months. What do you think, I've just made him up?
Well, it just struck me. You've been caught using a credit card you've no right to. You're telling us it was given to you by a man you're no longer seeing?
He exists. I've told you. He works in a tie shop in Manchester Airport, or you'll find him at home with his wife and children in Oak Hill.
OK. I just wanted to be sure. Won't be long.
I'm sorry for any inconvenience caused, Mrs. Roberts. Any damage, I'd be quite happy to come round and help you put it right.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you mean well, Roy, but I really think you should start thinking about the company you're going into. I mean, when do you think he lasted a full day's work, huh?
What, Spider? Well, I find it's an education just speaking with him. If he'd have lived 2,000 years ago, he'd have been hailed as a prophet.
Oh, really? Well, I'm sorry you missed it.
Oh, well, seen you then.
All this fuss over a couple of trees.
Oh, Audrey's had a demonstration in their garden.
Yes, I heard. I've turned the hosepipe on them.
Well, I would have mine, but you know Alfie, ever the politician.
You'd think they'd welcome a concert more, wouldn't you? Then they'd have somewhere to sit and sing their protest songs.
Yeah, but it has always been open land, you know, for people to do with what they wanted.
They'll still be able to do what they want, Alma, and they won't get all those nasty wet leaves falling on their heads.
Oh, hello. And what's the latest instalment? She's moved in with her mother and 3 cats now, has she?
No, she's gone. Apart, please, Alex.
Yeah, coming up.
Gone?
Moved out, yeah.
What about the Bambino?
She took her with her.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear it. Well done, lad. You've more about you than I thought. And she can't claim she didn't deserve it. I say she can't claim that. Anybody in their right minds would have shown her the door after all the tricks she'd been up to. Anybody.
Suppose he would, yeah.
I'll get that. Alec, same again all round. We're celebrating.
Hey, listen, love. We better go. You were telling me the truth before, weren't you?
About getting a job? Yeah. In fact, I'll tell you what it is, shall I?
You said security.
Yeah, it's that red wreck job that our Toya keeps going on about.
Chopping down trees.
Yeah, Paddy Thompson has got the contract for securing the whole site. So I'll be helping out, sorting out our Toya. And a Looney Tunes boyfriend.
No! Oh, Les, she's gonna go boy me when she finds out.
That's one of the main reasons why I took the job.
Alec, if you see Deirdre, will you tell her we're looking for her?
Yeah, yes, I will.
Are we off then?
Yeah. Hey, well, at least you'll be able to keep an eye on her.
Oh, I will. And get paid for doing it at the same time.
Oh, love. See ya.
See you, Chuck.
Right. Well, it's good news and not so good. The good news is yes, he definitely does exist.
I think I told you that.
You did, yeah. The not so good is we can't find him. People at work haven't seen him all week. Then we went to his home. No sign of him there either.
What did his wife have to say?
We couldn't find her either. According to the neighbours, the whole family took off a couple of days ago, leaving you to carry the can.